Hey guys, I am Big and Scary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay. This time it's going to be Game 3 in the ClanWar featuring NoN-eSports versus WeWannaWinClan. Representing NoN-eSports in the top right-hand side is going to be ReasN, our victor in the last game. And he is a very high Masters level Protoss, or Terran player. He plays Protoss, but today he's Terran, so we'll see how that works out. No, he plays Terran, and he plays it very, very well if you're going to judge him on the first game. And he was top 15 in the EU ladder, so I am very impressed in his playstyle. Speaking of very impressive, is from Clan We Want to Win, Mattzour. Matt is also top 15 Terran, so a very comparable skill level for both players on the EU ladder, and both players are Terran, so we have a true mirror matchup. This is going to be absolutely incredible. Speaking of mirror matchups, I enjoy Terran more than pretty much any other mirror matchup, just because Zerg versus Zerg, yeah, it's very, very hectic, and you have a lot of, ooh, wow, will that Baneling hit? But it's not very cat and mouse. There's not a lot of clever thinking. It's all very macro intensive. And then Protoss can be very, very stagnant. But with Terran, it's so dynamic. You have so many different choices to choose from. You got the barracks opening, you got the Reaper opening, you have all sorts of timing attacks, and the drops get absolutely hectic. And the micro is very important, but so is the very, very macro intensive builds if you can claw your way out to that period. So we're going to see exactly how a very high level, master level Terran versus Terran plays out. We have the barracks coming up with the refinery immediately thereafter. It looks like both of them are going to be finishing right up on top of each other. Probably going to be a Reaper opening just because we're on Whirlwind, and Whirlwind is an absolutely enormous map. You have so many different spawning locations to choose from, and ReasN likes Reapers. If you didn't watch the last game, you should totally go watch that last game because there's a couple of Reapers in it. There's just a handful, and they do some scouting, and there's a little bit of harassment here and there, but overall they don't play too much of a role in that game. So we do have the barracks coming out from Mattzour, and why is it so incredibly delayed? Well, it's because of the CC that gets thrown down on the low ground. No big deal there. CC first, huge map, like I was saying with Whirlwind. He can totally afford to get away with this this kind of economically greedy playstyle. But with the early gas from ReasN, he's going to have plenty of extra gas in order to get a little bit higher tech, get out the units that are necessary to actually punish the hubris from Matt, and make it so that he can kind of shy away from getting that early CC in the next game, maybe. So SCV is coming out. It's going to be poking in at that front door, but the wall off has been completely completed, and the Reaper's going to be poking out. So Matt is going to be very lucky in his initial scouting, and we can see from the rally that ReasN is actually was planning on scouting the top left. So let's see if that changes now that he's cleaned out that SCV. Command center coming down pretty much immediately after all things said and done. The SCV goes down, which is cool because actually, no. Matt saw that SCV coming down. He saw that the SCV was coming out, so he's probably going to be suspecting that a CC is coming down. He's going to know that his own CC is just a little bit early, and so he's going to be feeling pretty good about that because he knows that the push from ReasN will be a little bit delayed because he's getting his own CC out. Note that ReasN is scouting the top left first, so he will be very delayed in scouting that Matt went a command center first build, and we see the double gas coming down. We do have two barracks out right now. He's holding off on getting that third one just yet, though we probably will be seeing in a handful of seconds. We've got a combat shield coming out first, which tells me, what does that tell me? Well, normally you see stem first if there's going to be a very aggressive time. You see stem because it takes a little bit longer than combat shield. By going combat shield, it tells you that he's going to be playing a little bit more defensive, and it's because he hasn't scouted Matt's base yet. He hasn't come in there and seen that CC first. He could be dealing with some sort of Banshee harass, and in order to get the combat shield up, make your Marines a little bit more resilient to that harassment play. So this is a wise play. This is ReasN covering his bases, making it so that he's not open to a very aggressive push. And this is the worst scouting possible for ReasN. He's just now getting in here, just now seeing that a bunker is up on the low ground, so he knows nothing. He doesn't know if there's an orbital back there. It could be 30 different battle cruisers that have been built and are just hanging out there waiting for their energy to come up for the Yamato cannon. So bad for ReasN, good for Matt. And what will Matt do in order to capitalize on this? He's throwing down two different reactors. He's got his own tech lab up, hasn't decided on a tech choice yet, probably going to be stem more than anything else. ReasN is getting his +1 armor, again, playing a little bit defensive, not getting that +1 weapon, getting that +1 armor. He's getting the combat shields out, playing defensive, making it so his units can actually be very cost effective against any sort of attack coming out from Matt. And this is because ReasN is playing in the dark right now. He has no idea what is going on from Matt. Matt is completing his wall off. He has elected to get his own combat shield out first. CC is coming up, and yeah, we're back to 2 on the gas geysers. That's kind of weird. Yeah, I guess he doesn't need a lot of gas. He doesn't. He's got reactors on that. He needs to produce a factory sooner or later. But yeah, he totally doesn't need a lot of gas, and if you can afford to put your SCVs back into the minerals just for a couple of extra seconds to get out that nice saturation down in the natural, actually use the CC that you constructed super early. Still neck and neck on the harvester count, which is weird because Matt should be ahead. He got that earlier CC out there, but he has invested heavily in his infrastructure. He's got that third CC coming out, as well as doubling up on the reactors. There goes a scan from ReasN to see exactly what is happening inside, and he sees that third CC is going to make him very, very happy. Knows that there's not going to be an impending push, something absolutely huge coming out from Matt, and so ReasN, you know, he's feeling a little bit more comfortable. He's getting his own factory right now. He's actually got identical builds back at home. He's got his 2 reactors. He's got his tech lab, which did the combat shield. His +1 armor is going to be finishing in a handful of seconds, and his stem is actually much more than halfway done. And so ReasN is going to be dealing with this small push from Matt. But what does Matt exactly have? He's got combat shield, and that's it. He's got +1 weapons starting. No, stem starting. +1 weapons is just now starting for ReasN. And so this is actually going to get squashed pretty handily. Yeah, that's a lot of Marines, but ReasN actually outnumbers them on all counts. He's got stem. He's got +1 in a handful of seconds for armor. He's got +1 armor already, but +1 weapons in a handful of seconds. And he's also got combat shield out too. So those Marines are very intimidating. Matt realizes this and does retreat. So it looks like ReasN, realizing that he's got a bit more of a map control, is going to be pushing down here, maybe doing a little bit of damage. The bunker was salvaged, but the natural has been very fully saturated, preparing to take that third. However, Matt realizes that he probably can't push out just yet to actually take that third, what with ReasN having so many of these Marines out there right now. And this is when he's feeling kind of chagrined at holding off on that tech. He really could use maybe just one middle mine, maybe some siege tanks. Here comes the push, the bundle of Marines on top of the bundle of Marines. It looks like ReasN, despite having that stem, is just not going to be able to do enough damage to push through. Yeah, he's going to clean up every single one of those Marines, but with the constant resupply, the defender's advantage for Matt, and the SCV pull, he is going to succeed in pushing them back. The first 2 medevacs pop out though, so yes, ReasN overall wins the battle, but he doesn't succeed in getting in there and doing any economic damage. His own CC is just now being started. Remember, that third CC went up a very long time ago for Matt's, and immediately Max throws down an extra 2 barracks, probably going to be having 1 tech lab and 1 reactor on that, so that he can get even more aggressive, start doing drops, maybe accompany a couple of Marauders into that mix so we can start sniping out the siege tanks, which we can see are being constructed by both players. We see the Matt with his own siege tanks, and does ReasN have a factory at all? No, the factory is totally lifted off. Could have sworn I saw one on the production tab a little while ago. Oh no, here comes a second push from ReasN, coming in there sniping on a handful of the Marines, but all he succeeds is pushing Matt back once again, and not to be outdone, the orbital command does succeed and go out and will secure that third. However, it's in a very precarious situation right now, because if ReasN wanted to, he could push in there and kind of negate some of that defender's advantage, but the siege tank up on the high ground will ensure that ReasN cannot push into the to the natural and actually punish that. And with a second siege tank trundling in, probably going to be positioning up by the third, but no, ReasN is positioning like he wants to get in there. He can do a stem, he can push in, do a lot of damage to this, and the Marines are flanking just a little bit, but with the numerical superiority, ReasN's going to be able to get underneath that orbital. Will he get the snipe on it? No, he turns to fight those Marines. Oh, another stem chasing down that orbital, gets the kill, and now the Marines that have been stemmed twice will have to turn and fight Matt, but Matt has to retreat, and oh wow, 1 siege tank fire gets in there just to prove that you cannot push into my natural. So Matt, wow, devastating loss of that orbital command. That is really bad for him. However, his economy is not in bad shape. I mean, 47 over 58, obviously he wants more harvesters than that. He wants to be even with ReasN, but he hasn't lost a massive amount of units. He hasn't lost a massive amount of SCVs, and his tech is not bad at all. So what he needs to do is throw down a third CC, realize that, yeah, that it really was terrible that he lost his, but it's not an unwinnable location, and I feel like him pushing out right now is setting himself up to get flanked and lose these these siege tanks, and ReasN is being very aggressive, being very frisky with his Marines, and his Marines are in a flanking position. There goes Matt pushing forward with a very small number of Marines, and no, ReasN is going to be able to push forward and crush through these Marines, get right on top of those siege tanks, taking so much damage from those siege tanks, but eventually whittling down those Marines, getting on top of them. And yeah, the second one was going to go down in a handful of seconds, and the third one to follow suit immediately thereafter. So ReasN taking another game, this time over a much very skilled player, and we can see that the resupply, look at these Marines just trundling over there, another siege tank thrown into the mix, and all that was just because of that snipe on that orbital command. And yeah, that was a devastating loss, but I feel like Matt set himself up for failure. He pushed out with way too few Marines. He knew that ReasN had a large bundle out there, and by not having a siege tank siege before that attack happened, it was a bad situation. It was a bad call. But yeah, I mean, both players are fantastic at Terran, and they definitely know what they're doing. So who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? I am not. I'm just a commentator. I just talk about this stuff. And I'm content to talk about ReasN in Game 4, I guess. Wow, he's 1-2. He could be taking this all the way out. So stick around. We'll skip on over to Game 4, and we'll see exactly how far ReasN can take this. Congrats to Matt's definitely showing you exactly how to play a defensive kind of Terran, but it just wasn't enough to take the crown from ReasN. So we will see who we want to win. Wants to throw out next to take down ReasN. So yeah, see you guys in Game 4. I will see you there. I am big and scary. Bye.